foolishness. They go out of their way to exploit foolishness, literally out of their way. But they won't do anything, right, to encourage the truth. They won't do it. They will not do it. So, brothers and sisters, we see that we are constantly affected, right, by interference, right? Interference. So, as you can see, they interrupted our show, and that's fine. We're going to continue on. Still going to make it a very good show. We pray that the brothers and sisters would catch on to the show again, right? But it's like the enemy to interrupt. That's what I tell you, brothers and sisters. We are fighting an enemy. An enemy. And this enemy don't want the truth to get out. So they will destroy and attack any truth. They'll destroy and attack it. To confuse the brothers and sisters that are truly to listen to get some help. You have to understand that. I understand it. I'm in no way discouraged. As a matter of fact, I'm encouraged anytime I see that old devil, right? That old pale thing, that old sickly looking thing try to destroy anything that the black brother is trying to do today. Or trying to destroy any contribution, right? I think it would be good for me to say that. Try to destroy any contribution that I can give to the black movement. Now, I want to touch upon, brothers and sisters, the stuff that is happening, and that is still happening to our community, still happening to brothers and sisters that are out there that are being killed, right? As we go toward our subjects, that blacks were not brought here to America to be equal with whites, and that's the truth. Not the reason we were brought here. We weren't brought here for that reason. And it's important that we discuss it. It's so important that we discuss it because if we don't discuss it, brothers and sisters, it is literally over for us. I mean, the foundation of our education, the foundation of our study, lies on the fact, lies on this very fact that we weren't brought here to be equal. Now, anybody with any sense could see it, right? I believe I'm right in saying that. Anybody with any sense can see that we were not brought here, right, to be equal, right? We weren't. We weren't brought here to be equal with the white man. We weren't brought here to be equal with him. And history proves that. This is why the man, even today, is trying to wipe out history and wipe out what happens to us on a day-to-day basis. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. So, we have to understand what is happening in front of us every day. The man is telling you that you're not an American citizen. With capitalistic and royal racist hypocrisy, he's telling you that you're not an American citizen. And to add insult to your injury, not mine, because I've never believed that I was an American citizen, but to add insult to injury, the man kills me. Every day, he's killing brothers and sisters on the street. The police is doing this, brothers and sisters. We may as well be honest with ourselves about it. We may as well be honest with ourselves about it. That this devil, yeah, the white man, I'm entitling him, I'm calling him a devil. But this devil will never get any justice, never get any peace, will never have any form of righteousness with him involved with us on this planet. And we have to know it. So it's important, so important for black people to understand. Brothers and sisters, we got to understand. Because if we don't understand it, we are indeed finished. There are people fighting for this equality, right? Brothers and sisters that are literally fighting to be seen as American. And just the mere fact that he wants you to be seen as an American, just that one supreme fact should make you and I cautious. Because I've said it to you on several occasions, and I say it to you again. We are not American, brothers and sisters. We will never be American. We're not brought here to be American. And when we die, we'll die having not gained American citizenship. That's right. We don't even have it. And man is telling you this, right, in every way that he possibly can. He's telling you. But you want to be like the white man so much until you won't even see, right? Can't see the truth despite the nose on your face, right? So we have to be cognizant and aware of the evil that we face being with these people every day. We got to be cognizant. We have to be aware of it. Because in reality, we got brothers and sisters dying. Literally dying. We have that. Brothers and sisters that are dying. Now, and it's plain to see. Very plain to see. But you and I have been duped, consciously, unconsciously, willingly and otherwise, to believe that the white man is superior. Well, in fact, that's what slavery was all about. That's what slavery was all about. This belief that the white man was superior. Superior to you, superior to me. And because we have believed this for so long, you see, peace, Sister Donna, peace, glad to see you here. Because we have believed this for so long, we have invested in the white man's version of freedom. And this is the biggest mistake we could have made in our lives. Now, I love the lectures by Dr. Henry Clark, because he tells us in no uncertain term that we were not brought here. You and I, our grandparents, right? Even those of us that were born here, it was not and is not America's intention to make us free. It's not America's intention. You have to understand that. Not their intention. Their intention was to have a more, first of all, a global, plainly put, a global form of slavery, a form of oppression that would bring monetary gain, right? In the sense that they would have free labor on the first part of it, right? Because they couldn't afford to pay, isn't that right? And then after this free labor, the dispensation had passed. Then they would have to put a number on a label that their stock market could handle, right? So that meant they had to give a salary, isn't that right? So when they gave a salary, the salary was not a competitive salary, but it was a mediocre salary to indicate, right, that you are working for somebody and for something, right? Because at that point you become an official of the corporation for which you work. And this is important. It's important for us to know, brothers and sisters. There are too many of us in this late date that don't even know any better and are making the mistakes of fighting for legislative rights. I say again, as our subject is tonight, blacks were not brought here to America to be equal with whites. I don't care how you spin it. I don't care how you toss it. I don't care how you flip it. When the coin drops, it will say the same thing, that you and I are here to support the labor industry, and we're not here to become independently wealthy. We're not here for that. And if we're not here to become independently wealthy, and we're not here to become an American citizen, right? And we know that how? By the way that we were brought here to America. We can never rule it out, brothers and sisters. No way of ruling it out. It's not going to happen. But we were brought here for a specific purpose. A specific purpose. And that's to create wealth through a labor market, right? Through a business of slavery, right? Through the production of plantationism, right? So that those that had invested in slavery in England and America and Spain, right? Eurasia, all over, even Africa, that they will make a return on that profit. That's right, even Africa. A lot of people don't like to hear me say that. And I hate saying it myself. But you know you got to have a sellout somewhere. I mean, Judas was a sellout to Ethiopian Jesus. Isn't that right? Judas was a sellout, wasn't he? Oh, yes, he was. Right? He came in there already with a mission. You know, there are some people in the community when you're standing up, brothers and sisters. I mean, I don't know where they come from, but they're there. There are some people in the community that, my God, they will literally run you down trying to find out what you got going. And the first thing they're going to do is run over there and tell that white man everything you said, everything you done, what side of the door you left out of, what car you driving, how your wife look, how she wear her hair. He wants to give the man all this information with no mistake, none whatsoever, right? About the individuals, the meeting, right? And the transitions that were made at the meeting, and the personality of all the individuals there that the man would consider, when I say man, I mean master, that the man will consider dangerous, right? And you got these people, I want you will hear me tonight. You got people in the community paid by the federal government to do just that. It's crazy. Don't you know that there were people in Africa who knew the deal? They had already made a deal to sell you and I. Our deal was already done. It was already done. It is possible today, and I'm going to show you that. It is possible today that men and women that invested in slavery are still getting paid from the insurance of the slavery labor market. Are you following me, brothers and sisters? Slavery is that lucrative and oppression is that wealthy that there are probably still organizations, and I'm going to pull them up. I'm saying probably, right? You know, if I'm saying probably, I mean more than likely, right? There are still corporations today being paid for its investment in slavery in the past. Huh? Yes. So this African slavery in America was a mad investment as it relates to the stock market. See? And I hear black people saying, go invest in the stock market. You can invest in it, it'll give you return on your money. But just remember that you'll never get the return that that white man to get. Right? Isn't that right? You'll never get the return that the white man get. What would he look like telling you the true secrets of the stock market so you can make money? Right? I'm just saying. I want you to think about it, brothers and sisters, because they got this thing, man. They got it wrapped up and shaken down, pressed together with a ribbon on it. And I mean, brothers and sisters are taking it hook, line, and sinker. They're even black people like Raven Simone who made the mistake of calling themselves American. They've been trying to push this narrative a long time. They've been trying to push this narrative a long time. Where they're calling African American American. We're not even African American, much less American. Isn't that right? We're African, right? Because our ancestors come from Africa. You and I didn't make a decision to come here. You and I was brought to America. Isn't that right? We were brought to America and made slaves. Well, really, we were caught, right? Identified as slaves in bondage, and then brought to America, spewed up out on land, right? And made slaves, right? Or workers without pay, right? Forced labor on the plantation. So we were caught, put in prison. That's what you and I are prisoners of war. We are the children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren of slaves that were forced into labor here, forced into prison camps. You don't hear me. I'm trying to speak plain to you today, right? We're literally forced into these situations, right? Forced. And what I want you to know is that there are three big companies, and you can research this yourself. You can research it. That's why I give you the facts, because I want you to know. I want you to know, because a lot of them know. Literally don't know. There was an article that came out March the 27th, 2002. March the 22nd, 2002. There was an article that came out that there were three big companies that were cited in this U.S. Slave reparations suit. Now, I told you before that I don't believe that we'll get reparation. Because if we get reparation, then it's all over for this country. Now, I don't believe it. Right? I don't believe it. But in the light that you do, it's going to be something attached to it. You better believe that. Might even go into debt again. Or when they produce this money, right, then they'll be right there to suck it up again, taking your taxes and everything. So this is going to have to be a type of suit that is going to be protective of the suitors, right? It's going to have to be protective, because if it's not protective, then the government may come and take money, from you. So it needs to be anybody doing anything against that suit needs to be nullified and void. Anything they could possibly say against it, right? You know what we're dealing with? We're dealing with the white man. Dealing with the white man. He's a tricky beast. So three large U.S. companies were named in the lawsuit filed, right, in March the 27th, 2002, right? And in this lawsuit that was filed, then these companies, on the behalf of black Americans, on the behalf, you got to see how the Los Angeles Times is writing this. The Los Angeles Times, still another paper written by the man, right? These lawsuits were filed today, or rather Tuesday, of March the 27th, 2002, on behalf of African Americans descended from slaves, right? The first potential action seeking reparations from firms profiting from slavery. Now listen, profiting, not who profited, profiting from slavery. Now, there's three of them, three of the main ones, and we're going to talk about them very quickly. And then we're going to understand, by talking about them, we should understand where we are, because it should touch on a myriad amount of things, brothers and sisters. So it's important. It's important that we keep up with what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, and I'm going to always tell you, I'm going to explain it to you what I'm saying and why I'm saying it. Aetna Incorporated was one of them, right? We all know AETNA, right? Right? TV. Aetna Incorporated, right? Then we had the CSX Corp, which was the trains, right? And then Fleet Boston, right? Financial Corporation. All of these were named in the lawsuit filed in Brooklyn, New York, right? By the Deidre Farmer Pellman, right? This is the attorney. 36 in the latest step, compensation, right, brothers and sisters, for what their ancestors suffered as slaves. And Aetna and CSX, which is the train, said slavery was a regrettable chapter in history, but the events in question occurred so long ago that the courtroom was not in the proper venue to decide on reparation. Listen to this. Black attorneys that have been doing this is a show. I mean, the whole thing is just beyond foolish anyway. I'm going to tell you why. Because here you go asking the man. My God, brothers and sisters, this is humorous. Here you go asking the man, right, whose ancestors put you in slavery, to recognize, repudiate it, right, and pay you the money that they gained from you being a slave from the day that you became a slave all the way up to now. That's what's really, this is what's not being said, but that's what's so humorous about this. I can just imagine white brothers or white people, brothers and sisters. I can imagine white people laughing behind the door, talking about them niggas are just so stupid. They believe anything we tell them. The attorney said 12 other companies would be getting letters in the coming days. This happened in 2002 now, requesting a dialogue on a settlement, and that as many as 1,000 unidentified corporations may have profited from slavery. Do you honestly believe that the white man doesn't have a list of all the corporations, organizations, and operations that benefited from slavery? This is what I'm saying. We could have peace tomorrow. Literally have peace. You and I could. We could have peace tomorrow. If we get rid of these mealy mouths, going in tap dancing before boss, begging, pleading, hopping, and skipping, kneeling from the lowest level, right? Still dead, mentally, physically, and otherwise, still dead. But they are asking this man, the white man, boss, you know we worked for you a long time. If you please, sir, if you please, we ask that you free us and that you give us the money that our ancestors earned. Now, you have to see how foolish this is. Because, first of all, they act as if slavery is something that's done away with. Right? When in fact, you and I are in slavery today, brothers and sisters. We're still in slavery. No different than a prison wall layered with cotton and cushion. Right? Carpet, cotton, and cushion. You know that the wall is behind it. Right? Behind all of this beautiful outlay that they put in this prison. Right? All the bells and trinkets are here. Right? But you know you're in prison. I don't care how much they fashion it. A private prison, right, that's decorated beautifully, does the same thing that a harsh prison does, right? Public prison that's decorated horribly. Both of them are built to keep you in. And whatever game has to be run in order to keep you in is fine. Because the main thing that needs to happen is that you need to be behind bars. Right? You and I, brothers and sisters, are behind bars in America. You can't even leave this country because you're not free. You can't even leave this country without permission. That's why you got to get a passport. Right? You got to get a passport because you're not free. The white man doesn't have to get a passport when he leaves. Is that right? The white man can sail under the radar or on the radar or above the radar. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because he already knows that he is free, right? He can do whatever he wants. From the poorest, stinkiest, pissiest smelling poor white trashy cracker to the wealthiest, stinkiest smelling wealthy white, right? Right? So he could be poor like a Kentucky cracker right in the woods and be as wealthy as what was the guy's name? That was a great engineer right in Hollywood. I can't think of his name right now. But as wealthy as any wealthy white that you can literally find. But the fact of the matter is that he got freedom and you and I don't. The white man can bask and act and react in the ways that he does because he's free. He's running this plantation. He's running this government. Isn't that right? Wherever you are and he is running the government, he has made himself powerful and have put an army behind it to keep him in power. But you and I have no power. So when we're brought into America, we weren't brought into America to have any power, equality, isn't that right? Justice, not the reason we're here. We were brought here to work labor, right? And if you and I are going to get out of the situation that we're in, as I said 100 times, we'll have to fight. So brothers and sisters, we've got work to do, right? And putting out this correct knowledge and setting a foundation where our people can understand exactly what's going on and so they can benefit from what's going on. Peace, Brother Bruce. Peace unto you, brother. And our brother said peace to the doctor and the subscribers. Our brother sent out his blessing. And it is important for us to understand it because we have to teach our children. I want you to know that many of our children are behind, brothers and sisters, because we're not telling them the truth. We're living the truth, we're in the truth, but we're not telling them the truth. We need to tell them in as early as they can understand that you're not American, you're not free, the white man is dangerous, and he'll kill you, right? Don't trust the white man. 5 things, right? You're in America, you're not free, the white man is dangerous, don't trust the white man, and he'll kill you. These are the 5 things that we need to tell our kids, right? And when we do that, they won't be duped. They won't be caught up. We need to tell them where they are, who they are, how they got here, right? How long they've been here, and when they're getting out. And the only people that can decide whether we're getting out or not is us. We're the only ones that can decide it, brothers and sisters. No one else can decide that destiny for us. Not even the white man himself can decide that destiny. And I'm not going to be before you long this evening because there's not much to say on that. There are companies today, just as I showed you or read to you, there are companies today that are still benefiting from you and I being oppressed. Listen, the food stamp office is one of them. This was created oppression, right? We'll give you these food. Now I want you to imagine, and I want to talk to you about it just a little while. I want you to imagine, brothers and sisters, here you are in segregation. You live in large. Black people have mounting businesses around the country, just a mounting facet of businesses around the country. Excuse me, brothers and sisters. You are building. It's been a long day. You are building up your financial institution, your collegiate institution, your education institution. All these things you're building up for yourself. You're not waiting on the white man to give it to you. You're building it up for yourself. I want you to pay attention to this. And as you build these things up, you begin to need the white man less and less. Right? You even got to get your seeds from him to plant your garden. Why? Because you can go to a black guy that owns a grocery store who can give you seeds. Right? Right? Because when you're not on the physical plantation, right? When you're not under the physical plantation, you build up two Americas. You build up the black side of America. Well, for black people, where black people can go, then there's a white side. You're not allowed across the tracks, right? You better not go across the tracks, and you better not be looking at no white woman. Isn't that right? Yeah, brothers and sisters. Why? Because you live in the reality that while the European was saying that he was fighting for his own freedom, his own justice, his equality, as he was writing the Declaration of Independence, as he was writing the Constitution of the United States, you and I were slaves. See, the man was a hypocrite and is a hypocrite because while he's saying these things and fighting England to be free, he's over there catching us in slave ships and grabbing us and spewing us off. Isn't that right? Huh? That's right, isn't it? And when we were fighting, it wasn't when they were fighting, whether it be the what was the one war that they fought was addicts. Forget drawing a short blank. But whether it be the constitutional war, right? This first conflict, right? Whether it be the second conflict with the civil war under Abraham Lincoln, it doesn't matter. We were not fighting for our own freedom. Crispus Attucks was a fool, right? A coon and an idiot. Well, I'm just telling you. Because whether he was fighting with the Britons, right, against the Americans, or with the Americans against the British, he would never be free because England had slavery, isn't that right? Scotland had slavery. All of Europe had slavery. No matter where Europe was, they dominated those kingdoms with the technology of war, plunder, and pillage, right? Pillage, so that they would, once they overcome these lands, a people of peace, that they would establish forms of slavery. Isn't that right? I just want to talk to you for a little while. Just a little while. Don't intend to hold you any longer. Just a little while. So we've got to learn what freedom is. We have to learn it. And we'll never learn what freedom is until we can grow to learn to accept our situation here in America. What is that situation? I say to you and I say again, that the black man was not brought here in America to be free like the white man. We were brought to be a labor force. You've heard it over and over again in history, brothers and sisters, that you and I were brought here to be a labor force. And that's the undisputed truth of the matter. And I don't care how you look at it, how you flip it, how you turn it, how you bounce it. Well, at the end of the day, right, you're fighting for rights that you'll never get. Now, you can fight for liberation. You can fight to make you liberated. You can raise hell with the man through arms and battle, right? To get free of his clutches and let him know, hell, if I can't be free, you ain't gonna be free. You ain't gonna shoot me down. I'll shoot you down too, and I'll shoot your entire family, right? And for you to have some regiments to back that up. What did America have when they came here, right? When the Englanders came here, right? George Washington and all of his mafia friends. Well, that's what he was. That's what he was. He was mafiatic, right? These guys weren't respectable men. Only in white history were they respectable. Only in the white man's history. Other than that, when you read J.E. Rogers and you read other black journalists, right, and all these other black thinkers, you'll find out that these men were nothing but vultures. That's what you'll find out. Our brother Bruce said, America's Revolutionary War against England. Christmas addicts threw the first blow for his owners. My God, brother, you're so right. And every time the white man talk about Christmas addicts, it sent chills down my spine, because I know that Christmas addicts wasn't doing anything but fighting for that white man, right? Whether England or America, just fighting, right, to gain power for the white man. And what ended up happening after the war, England and America got together, right, and they were still against the black man. You hear what I said, brothers and sisters? I said after the war, England and America got together, and they were still against the black man. My God, still against the black man. So we have to be wise, brothers and sisters, to what's going on. Don't let the man fool you. Don't let him fool you, because he'll do it. He talk to you like you're free. I had one of them even come to me. I was sitting down, wasn't bothering anybody. But you can tell when they're intimidated by you, and you don't have anything to say. I didn't have anything to say. It wasn't rude, but I didn't have anything to say. But I was talking to somebody about slavery and how ridiculous it was, if you allow me, brothers and sisters, because I did. Talked about slavery. I talked about how ridiculous slavery was. And one of them nosed in. You know, they're nosy, invasive people. They invade everything. You and I could be talking about something, and you'll find some old white woman or white man looking around, trying to catch on to something that's said, trying to hear us. Isn't that right? They're afraid when you and I get together, because they know that they've done us all so wrong. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? So I was talking about slavery, right, and saying, you know, slavery was everywhere, it was all over. And the white man said to me, this one fella said, well, you know, he said, Africa had slaves. Now, you know, he don't mention that the African form of slavery, especially in 586 BC, during the time of Moses, because this is what they'll use, was an indentured servant, right? And that slave could work up, right, to be equivalent with his master. Isn't that right? If you'll look, brothers and sisters, at Joseph in the Bible, story of Joseph. So this is something that everybody can find. Isn't that right? The story of Joseph in the Bible, you'll find, brothers and sisters, that Joseph came there as a slave, but worked his way up, right, through the ranks, right, through education and knowledge, isn't that right, of this African consulate, right? And I have to say it that way because these were African people who had taken other African people in, became governors of the land. In other words, they became the law of the land and the lawgiver, right? And if anyone desired to dwell there in order to work themselves up from the debt that they'll have to owe, which was 7 years, right? It was 7 years, the indentured servitude. We also see this in the life of Jacob too, right? When he went to Lebanon and worked 7 years for Leah, worked another 7 years to get Rachel. Isn't that right? We see the same thing. So he was under the law and God, right? Jacob was under the law God of Lebanon, right? Or Laban. He owed him money, right? For to wed his daughter, so he had to work off his dowry. Isn't that right? He had to work it off. Now, in the light of Joseph, Joseph was under Potiphar, who was in the line succession of rulers for that day. Isn't that right? And Joseph later became governor of Egypt. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? Oh, brothers and sisters, I'm just trying to make it plain for you. Trying to make it plain so you can see how dirty, twisted, and messed up this white man is. So Africa, when Africa had any form of indentured servitude, it was always kind, it was always educational, it was always vocational, it was always agricultural education, and it was always something thoughtful, a thoughtful system in order to work an individual's way into a diplomacy so that they'll be able to appreciate their status and the laws thereof. And when Joseph came there, he was sold into slavery, in a sense, was given to them to work off, right, a debt, so the rest of the family could stay in their area, right? But when you look at American slavery, they caught us, isn't that right? They caught us and totally revolutionized the respectability of having to work and invest in a system to become a part of it. Because you and I have been working now, ever since we were put into slavery, have been working now through our ancestors and DNA for over 600 and something years as it relates to America. And yet to be free, yet to be citizens, right? Yet to be owners from the investment within the government. Even the wealthiest whites don't have a place. And I believe the wealthiest man in the world is, I believe his brother name is Robert F. Smith. Robert F. Smith is the wealthiest black billionaire in America. He has more money than Oprah Winfrey. Literally. Literally has more money than her. And you know she cooled and sold out to get all that she got. She exploited black folks like it was going out of style. Right? Right? As my grandmother would say, she would poop. Grandma didn't say poop. You know what she said. Grandma said she would poop in black folks, right? Like 40 going north. Isn't that right? Using us, eating us, digesting us, and exploiting us. Right? To invest in the system. And even after all of this, she doesn't really have a true investment in the system. She may have possessions, but she don't have any investment. See, that's a big difference. Because you got to understand what investments are. Investment is more than money toward a stock line, right? But it's you buying into your own stock. See, the white man caught and made our ancestors slave and continued slavery. And not only that, he bought into his own stock. Right? So he left the debt with us. Right? And we'll never pay it off. Almost like the sharecropper. Right? You can't dunk me in enough bleach to get this black off. All praises be to Allah. I'm so thankful, brothers and sisters, because I love being black. I accept being black. Right? I'm going to be black and die, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. I thank God for being a black man. Right? I praise the Lord for being a black man in America, brothers and sisters. Why do I say that? Because I know that this period that you and I are coming to is a powerful period. And if you believe that, you'll begin to start working toward it. And if you start working toward it, you'll begin to see the fruits of your labor. But you will never be able to build anything without creating an army. You don't hear me? To protect your investment, right? In your own stock. Investment in yourself. Investment in your people. Investment in your community. We could build a black mark, right? To challenge Walmart for sales. We could build our own lube stations. We could build our own gas stations, all of that. We can do all of that, our own grocery stores. Start buying for ourselves and do it for self, and you'll shut the white man down overnight. But I must say this to you, brothers and sisters, that if you don't got a gun, if you don't have a regiment with guns, if you don't have missiles, right? If you don't have some fighting material, you don't hear me, huh? If you don't have it, you're going to be finished. You got to get something to protect your investment. When you look at United States Army, United States Marine, United States Air Force, United States, what is it? Army, Air Force, what is it? Navy and Marines. If you look at all of these, you'll find, brothers and sisters, that they are raised up and fine-tuned to make ready, right, or to make protection, to have protection or create protection for the wealth, right, the global wealth that the white man has built around the world. Even in our communities, they have white police. You don't hear me? That'll tell you and I, isn't that right? Will tell you and I they're not citizens, right? Because they're protecting the investment of America. And we can see it as plain as the nose on our face. And so where do we go? What do we do? You already know what has to be done, but you're warring with it. Somebody said, what has to be done? I can't tell you that over line. I won't do it. But you already know what you got to do. You already know what you got to do, but you're just fighting with it. Everything the white man has gotten, my brothers and my sisters, have been through violence and bloodshed. I have news for you. You and I are not violent, right? We can commit ourselves to the shedding of blood, but only for self-defense. We're not violent. The violent one is the one that put us in slavery. It's the violent one that put us in the bottom of those boats and sold us overseas. These are the violent ones. The violent ones came to eat dinner with the African and the Native American. Isn't that right? And said and wondered to himself, why are these people being so nice to me? It'll be easier to take them over than I thought. Isn't that right, brothers and sisters? You don't hear me. And so you should have learned from your ancestors to not trust that man. Isn't that right? Why shouldn't you trust him? You shouldn't trust him because he showed you every day that he's not worthy of being trusted. Brothers and sisters, that's all I have for you tonight. That's all I have for you tonight. That you got to be aware. You must be aware in this day and time of who we are, where we are, how we got here, and how we're going to get out. You have to be aware of it. And if you're not aware of that, brothers and sisters, then you're not ready for this fight. You have to be aware of it so much and be so convinced, right, that you are willing, as you are convinced, that you are willing to express that in ways, right, that will make you, right, ways that will make you organize yourself for self-defense. You have to build a grocery store, for instance. This is defense. This is how you can get independent investment within yourself, within your community. Get a tire shop, right? Get a tire shop. When the Arabs are around trying to change these tires, you just bring up your own tire shop, right? Start out small and then you can grow, right? So you can make money changing the tires of brothers and sisters that stop on the highway, right? Bringing gas to brothers and sisters that have stopped on the highway. There are many things that we can do to start jobs, to make jobs. There are many needs within the black and white community that the black man is better at supplying than anyone else in the world. You run the labor force, brothers and sisters. You have to use that as an advantage. Use it as an advantage. The fact that you run the labor force will show you and means, right, that nothing, I don't care what it is, what business it is, it can't run sufficiently unless you and I are involved in it, unless you and I are a part of it. Brothers and sisters, don't forget to please, we got 2 more books that need to be sold. I want to thank all of those that made purchases. Don't forget that you can bless us through Cash App. You can purchase a book. If you want a book with what you donate to Cash App, you just let me know through email. Type your email in so that I can, type it in the comment section. It's easier there for me to go back and see it and be able to send you that material if you do it that way. Because I look for emails in the email section to try to pull them up right away, and I don't get them. So type your emails in. If you go down below the comment section and you type in the comment, then I believe type your email in there. I believe it will come up. If not, just put it in the comment section, right? And I will get that book to you in that email. Brothers and sisters, we're thankful for you so very much. And we ask that you stand fast, stand firm. Don't turn around. Don't turn around. I just want to let you know that you're not free. And if I tell you that you're not free, you'll start studying on how you're bound. And one thing definitely for sure, brothers and sisters, we're bound. Anytime you see a black man get shot 60 times by police or a traffic stop, you know that we're bound. We are bound, right? You and I are in trouble, we're in a mess, right? Anytime you see that, we're in trouble and we're in a mess. And these killings from the police are not going to stop. These killings are not going to stop, brothers and sisters. And we have to know that. We have to be aware of it. So we've got to protect ourselves, protect our families, right? And what have you. Us to do that. Nothing will ever get any better unless we do. Unless we do. And we have to start somewhere, right? Somebody said, you know what, this was crazy. He's speaking that over the line. I mean, it's so late in the game, and we ain't got time to try to whisper here and whisper there, give this person here, give this person there. We got to speak out. When you see leaders in the past, they could have done the same thing. They could have met privately. That was nothing new. But when they knew there was a time that came, right? Even though the word said that there's a time for all things under the sun, that's what the word says. There's a time for all things under the sun, right? There's a time to be quiet and a time to speak. But we've embarked upon a time. We've embarked on the time that we have to speak, brothers and sisters. That's the time that you and I have embarked upon. And I'm happy to be in this hour to be able to speak out and talk highly about things that we need to do. Make the black community free, brothers and sisters. Because we're not free right now. We're bound. One day we'll be free. As long as we keep fighting, we'll be free. As long as we keep fighting the enemy. As long as we keep working against oppression, the day will come and you and I will be free. And you'll see it. We will see it. All of us will be there to see it. The day when we will be made to be free. You and I will be there to see it. So, brothers and sisters, I'm so thankful today to be able to come before you. I know it was short, but I didn't have much to give but that. And so I'm thankful to have you here. Thankful for the pillars of the show, for all that you do. I'm thankful for you. Thankful for everything that you will do and everything that you have done. You make this show a success. We can't do it without you. And certainly in our advances as human beings, we can't advance without one another. So brothers and sisters, saying that, I want to thank you for all that you've done. And I say unto you as I did in the beginning, peace be unto you, brothers and sisters.